Yo, welcome to my video about my ban wish list on the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG meta right now. I'm gonna go very briefly over it. I don't want to make it a long video. So let's go straight into it. Arclord Christia can be used in the branded deck and can become 100% floodgate in their deck. They just use branded fusion or any kind of way of fuse from the deck or from the hand. I don't know. It goes into the graveyard. They use the Fallen into Virtuous Reborn, and suddenly they have a Christian on the board in the end of their end of their phase. So after they establish their boards, you just suddenly cannot special summon anymore. It's annoying. Then we have Vanity's Fiend and Majesty's Fiend. Majesty's Fiend can be kind of searched via the Fiend Smith engine. I mean, it's kind of unfair a little bit, but at the same time, it at least requires your attribute summon, and it's not that strong, and I don't know, it can be sometimes annoying, and neither player can activate monster effects. You can at least kill him, but it's still an annoying floodgate that doesn't need to exist. Then we have Dimensional Shifter. I think this card is like the most broken card of the bunch here. I'm not gonna go through every one of them, but I just want to show you that there's like many of those cards. They can be just like set or activated in the first turn or summoned in the first turn, and then your opponent has to deal with that shit. There's one exception though, it's the Retaliating Sea, which you activate going second. I think this card is also very toxic and doesn't have to exist. Like, come on, man, what the hell is this? You just banish everything from your opponent, everything goes to the graveyard, banishment. That's annoying, man, come on. And then you can even search another one of those. We have deck lockdown, mistaken arrest, this all search negate, and then you can have another draw. So you have like, you could have technically 11 cards to stop your opponent from searching. And then we have Shifter, Macrocosmos, Chaos Distil, which searches the Cosmos. Then we have Ryu, Gelm, Realm Winds, whatever. And then Dimensional Fissure. All of these cards force your opponent to play without their graveyard, which kind of sucks. Which means you have no hand traps, you cannot use your graveyard, you cannot interact with the graveyard. It's like, what the hell, dude? Only a few decks can play through this, and then that's it. Then we have here these two statues, which can also be going away from the meta. I mean, to be honest, guys, like we have all these statues, they're all banned, right? Why not just ban them too? Because there are decks that just want to play pure light. There are decks that just want to play pure dark, especially because of the Dominus cards. Why the hell do we have these cards still in the game? It's just too much RNG. Then let's go to the limit list, because this is probably gonna start make controversial thoughts. Let's sort everything for now. We have Izuna on 1. We have Phimena on 1. Branded Fusion on 1. Upstart Goblin on 1. Vision I'm not sure of, but could go on 1 too. Then we have Fall into Virtues on 1. Prayers on 1. And then Solemn Strike, Solemn Warning, and Solemn Scolding on 1. Because there's one reason for it, and that is this upcoming card. If this card gets released, and I mean, you can prepare yourself for your opponent just having like 12 to 13 solemn quick play trap cards, counter trap cards, right? You can't play the game. I don't think we need to see that time. So before that happens, please just put everything on 1 or at least 2. I don't know, do something, because I don't want to play against 5 face down cards. All of them are a fucking solemn. I don't want to play that meta. Then we have Magnificent Storm. I mean, the Radiant Typhoon Vision is not as oppressive as the others, but I don't like the idea of your opponent having many quick play spells in their deck, which are also very splashable if you ask me, and then they can just draw 2, discard 1 card in the draw phase. I don't want to see that happening ever. And then we have Mitsurugi Praise. I mean, unless you play the deck, right? You kind of... I mean, Radiant Typhoon is known for searching cards via the spell cards in the draw phase. but I feel like this should be a archetype only card, which means it can be on one, can be searched, and then you can draw two cards. I mean that then it's fine. I don't care if you go Pot of Greed in your deck, but at least make it like archetype dependent. Then we have prayers, which was pretty much the same thing. I mean, why do we have so many prayers in one deck that is so consistent? We have Mitsu. Look at Mitsu. It has one reset, right? Which can technically be a follow up card. Then you have starter here, starter. You have a starter. You have searcher, searcher, searcher. You have special summon from the deck, from the hand. Searcher, special summon, another search. It's like two searches in one card. I mean, come on, man. This deck is just like consistent enough, and I don't feel like you need this card to be like so oppressive as well. So like your Mitsu opponent has like 2 out of 3 games they're gonna use this card from their hand in the draw phase, and you can absolutely do nothing against it. And they can just set it, activate one, set the other one, and then they can use a Kusanagi to reset their Mitsurugi Ritual, and it's all wrong. I don't like this card. It should be on one, I feel like, and it's archetype specific, so I hate that this deck is like splashable in every other deck. So let's keep it archetype specific, so opponents have to search it first in their main phase, risk it to get rolled or whatever, and then we can talk from there on. Then we have Fallen the Virtuous, which is also very splashable. I don't like it. I don't think this is this card should be a archetype specific card. It mentions Fallen of Albas, Ecclesia, etc. I'm not a fan of everyone just running like 2 to 3 Albions in their side deck just to extra deck just to activate this card. It's just very silly to me, very very silly. Then we have Upstart Goblin. We have Into the Void is on one. We have Chicken Game. It's on one. Both of those cards are like very known for just giving a free draw. Why do I have Upstart Goblin on 3? Now imagine Pot of Greed, right? Imagine Pot of Greed reads like this. Draw 2 cards, your opponent gains 2000 LP. Right? Would you play this card? I would still play it. So there's a reason why everyone kinda, if they can, wanna play this card. Right? It makes no sense. It's just stupid. And then we have Branded Fusion, which is also on 2, but many decks like Draco Tail, and there's also other variations which don't come to mind yet, but there's still so many decks that can just like put 2 of those in their deck, put some Fallen of the Riches in their deck, and then they're like partially branded for some reason. And I don't think like branded should be a deck which is like a side engine. It should be a main engine, I feel like. And the branded deck itself, if you look at Albas, just search up Albas. Jesus. You have so many one-card starters. Albion is the semi-starter, right? Then you have your Fallen of the White Dragon, which is 2 starters. You have Springet's Kid in some cases, I guess. And then you have Ecclesia, which is a starter as well. You have your Cortesia, if you are lucky in your hand. Then you have Tribute God, which your Sark is a starter. Then you have what else? You have your Needier Servant as a starter. You have your High Spirits, which is a starter, and you can keep on extending from the end phase. So I don't think you need this card anymore. So just put it on one. Your opponent gets to search it towards the end phase or whatever. I don't care. Or maybe even put it in the graveyard and then put that in their hands. I mean, Branded has many ways to get to Branded Fusion, but I feel like it should not be like, oh, I have so many starters, I should just have another one. Cool. Just, I mean, it happens probably like 1 in 3 games you have this card in your hand in the drawing phase. I mean, in the starter hand, but doesn't have to happen. Then we have 5 mana on 1. There's another reason why I would put that on 1, because unlimited, we are gonna go with 3 Molulu again. Why do we do this? Because if you look at Draco Tail, you have so many starters already. You have your 5 mana on 1, 3 Lucias, 3 Molulu, you have 7 now. Then you have 8 Kitu, and then you have Rahu, 3, that's like 11 to 12 one-card starters. And each of them search the other ones. So it's like either they set them or they put them into your hand. Either way, I feel like 5 mana should not be in like every second game you play against Draco Tail, this card is already in their starting hand. I don't like that card. It's just very toxic. It's turn zero plays. It's very annoying. Your opponent already set up their first turn, second turn going before you even end your first turn. It's very annoying. Same reason with Izuna. I mean, you can put Izuna on 1 and then put Jokul back to 3. Why? Because now the deck is less oppressive, but at the same time, it still does what it does, but now not everyone can play the deck. I mean, I'm getting sick and tired of these like splashable mini engines inside of huge engines. I mean, it's kind of fun. It's cool to play like dual engines and stuff, but I feel like these cards are like so oppressive because they go turn 0. I like imagine you play a blue eyes deck, right? And you can turn 0 just play Maiden on the board and like search with it. Like who fucking like invented these cards? It's stupid. And then you have your Noroi, that's 3. You have your Izunon 1, that's 4. You have 3 Jokul, that's still 7 to 8 one card starters. Your K9 Ripper is anyway broken. It's broken as fuck either way. And then you have K9, case for K9, which is like already 9 to 10 one card starters or extenders. It's just, I don't think that deck needs. You can even put it on 2. I'm also fine with 2 on those both, but it has to be limited in some way because having 3 of those is just very obnoxious. Then we have semi-limit list. We have semi-limit Sheena. Sheena is just, imagine building an entire board. You activate some monster effect to negate your or disrupt your enemy, and boom, Sheena activates in the hand. You don't have an Omni negate or monster negate. GG, it's over. And then we have the older Mulcharmies. I mean, what I wanted to say is just limit this. It shouldn't be like every second game I play against a Radiant Typhoon. Oh, you activated a monster card? Here you go, Sheena in your face. It's just annoying. And then we have Mulcharmies. All should be on 2. Why? Because everyone is just playing like a few of them at 3. Nobody knows really what they should be choosing from. And then they go with like 3 Meows and suddenly they lose because they don't have these 2, or they go full Fuvalos and Purulia, and now suddenly they are playing against like, I don't know, something from the graveyard and banishment like Malice. And then they are asking themselves, why didn't I have some Meows in my side or whatever. And this could also like prevent them from like breaking on their own Mulcharmies. Like, you know how you just have like 2 Fuvalos in your hand or 1 Fuvalos from Purulia or vice versa, right? And then you draw and draw and draw and you draw into a fucking another Mulcharmy. You just hate yourself. This could also prevent that from happening. At least having 2 of those in every deck. So every deck, every type of deck that is like summoning from deck and extra deck, from the hand, from the banishment and graveyard, have to prepare and understand the risk of playing their decks, knowing that they might be drawing into Fuvalos or Purulia or Meows at any moment in every game, right? So every deck has to be somewhat prepared, but not be too scared of playing their decks. You understand? So yeah, I think that's a pretty good start to change the Mulcharmy cards. And then we have the cards that should not be limited anymore, because it creates a weird. We already talked about Mululu and Jokul. Because these cards don't need to be limited at all because they don't exist, to be honest. There's many other cards that need to be banned or limited to 1, but I just stated the obvious ones. And then we have to draw on Lockbird. It should be on 3 if you ask me. Why? Because if you put it on 1, everyone is just gonna play 10 minutes combo slop decks. And if you have it on 2, now you have this weird meta where some people prepare for multi-search decks and then they get drawn and then they have to pass turn. So draw became somewhat a semi shifter, which enabled some decks, but at the same time not really. There's still like the top decks are still the top decks because they can play around draw, for example, and like the tier 3, tier 2, tier 1 decks that are like not exactly tier 0 can just play sometimes. Like one out of 3 games you might get rolled. So you have to prepare, and then it's just like, why do I even play this deck? I just get randomly drawn, GG, right? And then if you have this card on 3, now everyone has to prepare to understand that draw is again another very big reason why they cannot play the game the way they want to play it. They can't do their 50-minute turns, you know. But at the same time, they now have some cheeky another way maybe to play their decks, continue to play their decks. They have to think about, okay, I'm gonna make this first search, and I hope um, or I'm gonna make this one big search, and then after that I'm not gonna play with searches anymore, since my opponent probably has a draw anyway, right? But if it's on 2, people are like, meh, I might be activating another search after this, and then they get drawn or they don't get drawn, and then they keep playing. It's like a 50-50. So I want this card to be back on 3 and not on 1. Yeah, that's all about my list or limited list wish list. It might become a very even play field for all decks in our tiers. Probably not the top tier 0 decks, but I feel like if you go with these changes, you can like observe the meta and then from there on make like maybe quick changes or fixes, whatever. Can make some emergency ban lists or limited lists, right? There's still ways to navigate this afterwards. So yeah, that's it.